This is the Bill Squire Show.
Hey, I'm here with Josh Gondelman. He is a stand-up comedian, an epic viral Twitterer. I think you have some of the best tweets that are just so universally loved that that I can think of, and then also a writer for Jesus and Mero.
Jesus and Mero, yeah.
And
thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I am happy to have you here, and it's also when I asked you to be on the podcast, I knew you were probably gonna say yes because you're a people pleaser.
That's true. I feel like it's truth in advertising there.
Yeah, well, when it comes to names, you have a comedy special that's coming out on June 21st, and the title of it is People Pleaser.
Yeah.
That's one of the, when it comes to naming a special, a very important aspect of it is telling people what they're going to get as quickly as possible. So there's a lot of things that like are inside jokes. Like I named my last album Bam Bam, which is an inside thing with my mom. That was my mom's nickname for me. She came to the taping, so like it was a cute thing for her, but it doesn't tell you anything about me. So I fucked up.
I think that's nice. I don't think that's bad though. There are some that are like bad.
Yeah.
That are like that are okay. Here's an example because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I wanted to call mine Triggered Much, and I thought it would be so funny, but I was like, it would mostly attract people that like wouldn't like my jokes and then would push away a lot of people that I think probably would.
Yeah.
So I scrapped that plan, but I thought it's so funny to just call like, not that all my jokes are like fluffy and about nothing and have no like depth to them, but it's certainly like a very friendly hour, and I just feel like calling it like oh, is it too much for you losers is so funny to me.
But there is something funny about that, like doing something that's so like a juxtaposition of what is they're actually going to see. So you go Triggered Much and you're like, no, I wasn't triggered at all. You're a very sweet comic.
And it's like, I think, once you have not me, but like once one ostensibly has enough recognition and a big enough fan base, I feel like you can do stuff that's like a little more tongue-in-cheek, right?
Yeah.
Like if Jim Gaffigan called the special Triggered Much, people would be like, oh, he's being silly because he's gonna open up with like 5 minutes about how like there are too many flavors of like there's too many savory pastries now, or whatever, and it's
he's gonna take Dippin' Dots down a level or something.
Yeah, and it's so good, but like you get that he's being a little arch when he's like, excuse me, but I'm just shooting from the hip, like in the title. And
I'm just telling the truth.
Yeah. And I feel like my hope with this is that it reaches people that don't know my style yet. And so that like I want it to be a good advertisement for what I'm like, and not like, necessarily a joke for the people that already know.
Right. Well, and like I said, it's a perfect name from the clips that I've seen, and just knowing your stand-up I think I've known of you for about 14 or 15, maybe longer. Because did you used to do stuff for Cringe Humor? Like,
I don't think so.
Not that, maybe it wasn't Cringe Humor, but I was just very, I think like early clip. Did you used to wear a duster?
No.
Okay, that wasn't you. Okay, so there was a different Josh that I am thinking of. Interesting. But I still have known at least for 10 years. Yeah. I know I've been aware of your comedy and writing and all that stuff. I got to figure out who that guy was.
I'm curious. You got to tell me when you figure it out.
Yeah. But you started in Boston.
Yes.
You've written for a bunch of different projects and TV shows and stuff like that. You've had a pretty amazing career, and you're a sneaker guy like me.
I am. I see him in the background with on your screen. It's great.
Yeah, there's a whole room of them though.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
That rules. Yeah.
It's gotten out of control, but I am proud of myself. There was a release today, and I won a raffle. Yeah. But the closest, like the store that I won at, was like an hour and 20 minutes away.
Yep.
And I was like, well, that's just buying resale now. Like that's.
What was it for?
It was the Jordan 4 infrared.
Oh yeah, I like those.
I like those too, but I was like, I'm not driving an hour and a half to get them though.
Right, and then with the gas money, you might as well just have them delivered off of StockX or something. And I
Exactly,
think for
exactly.
people who aren't sneaker people, because you and I were on the same wavelength about this,
Yeah,
but when you say like won a raffle, you win the chance to buy the shoe at
exactly.
sticker price.
Yeah,
And I'm laughing because like I'm that guy too. Like I got the Union collab with the Jordan 2s. Like
yeah.
I won on sneakers and I the sneakers app and I got them and I really like them, but I was like, oh, I won. And then I was like, I won the privilege of paying like 225 bucks for
Yes,
a pair of shoes.
exactly. Also, I noticed what you were wearing, and I had a guess. I screenshot the ones that I think the shoes that you're wearing in the
In the
special.
special.
Let me see if I got it right. Where is this? I had it in here. Oh, maybe it's just on StockX. I recently viewed. Was it the Nike Dunk Low Golf the Club 58?
Yeah.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah, I killed it. That is I got those for the taping and I was very excited about it. I like thought a lot about this might be like boring, but I thought a lot about how to dress for
Yeah.
this.
As you should.
Yeah. Well, this is like advice I got from a couple people, but I remember the first time I ever did anything on TV, I asked a bunch of friends. I did Conan in 2016, and I asked a bunch of friends who had done a bunch of TV before, like, what is something I'm not thinking about? And I got so much great advice from so many different people. But Gary Gulman said, and this is like not specific to Conan, and it's stuck with me every time I like get to do something on camera, is he's like, it's a visual medium, and I think sometimes people don't think about, like, you think like, oh, I'm gonna wear like what I wear to any show, and he's like, if you have the money available, spend a little money to kind of look your best and feel your most confident.
Right.
And he's like, it pays off, and it reads on screen when you like when you style yourself well, or you have someone style you well. And then I just talked about this with her on her podcast, with Lisa Traeger.
Mhm.
About just like the importance of, even if you're not spending a ton of money, considering how you're presenting yourself, right?
Right.
Because it's different than when there are people in the room seeing you. It's like you're a TV show to them, so you have to like consider your wardrobe in that regard.
Yeah, that's something that I was always like for like a brand thing. So for the early part of my career, I'd wear a suit, but it was like a kind of a disheveled look in the suit. Like my shirt would be untucked, tie would be kind of down, wear it with sneakers, but it was consistent. And then I would like, people would Google fat comedian in a suit and they'd find me.
That's incredible.
So I like, it worked for that. And then I started doing the road less. And now, you know, I kind of have a look now, like in the summer, I'm wearing a lot more like floral button down, like short sleeve stuff. But in the winter, it's more like just like a jacket that I like with a graphic tee that's not going to like be overly distracting, but something that looks nice, like not just like a ratty tee. Like it's, you know, it's got some meaning to it.
Yeah. I think that really like it's one way to communicate to the people in the room or the people watching at home, like, hey, this is kind of how I choose to present myself. This tells you a little bit about me. And so I really like thought about what I wanted to dress, and I ended up going with I got those dunks off of StockX, and now I think they've like, dunks are just, you can't get them anymore.
I've never won a dunk. I've never, I can't get dunks. No, like, and I don't buy a lot of stuff off of StockX. Like every once in a while I'll go after it, but like for the most part, I like to try and pay retail.
Yeah. That makes sense. And I try to do the same. And I wouldn't have gotten those Jordan 2s on resale, but I was like, this is for the special. It's wardrobe. I'll write it off on my taxes.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I got those. I had a pair of like brown corduroys, and I got a nice chambray, like a dark blue shirt and like a navy blue cardigan. And I was like, this is like how I look, this is how I dress, but it's kind of a slightly upscale version of it. And you know, I think if I were just doing a show in that same room on like a Friday night or a Thursday night, I would wear like a button down with a t-shirt under it, or or like a cardigan I already have with a t-shirt under it, but I got, you know, tried to like do it up just a little nicer.
Yeah, you wanted a little bit of a uniform, and that's I did that. So when I filmed so I did an album last year, and I cut up the video that I had to make like kind of like a YouTube special, and I bought like 4 different like blue, like baby blue sweatshirts that I was like, I'm gonna film in all these. And then when I put them on, I just look like a balloon. And so I like went with a different look altogether. But so now I have like 4 basically the same sweater. It's like a sweatshirt. It's just like a regular like crew neck that I never wear.
Right, because it's like that was for the thing.
Yeah, that's for the thing, and then I'm not. Yeah, they don't look right. Like it just. Yeah.
Oh, that's really funny. Yeah, I think that's interesting. And it's like, it's just so much more to consider when there's like a visual. I mean, like stand up, there's always a visual presentation, but I think when you're in a room, you get the grace of like, oh yeah, that's just a guy.
Yeah.
Like he put on pants to come out like I did.
And there's different people to look to, because there's some people that go like way.
Yes.
Like, so do you remember the Chris Rock special where he was wearing 3 different suits?
Yeah.
So he had like, I think his like urban leather jacket thing, and then he was wearing a tuxedo on one, and then I think just like a regular suit in the other.
Yep.
And it was 3 different locations, which was a pretty interesting way to shoot a special.
Yeah.
And so like you have that, and then you have obviously Eddie Murphy is probably the first person you think of, where and even Carlin, even though it was, he got to the point where he was just wearing all black, it was still planned out in that.
Right. It wasn't, he wasn't dressing haphazardly, even though he wasn't dressing like elaborately. And I think that's like, it's always something that's interesting to think about, right? Whether you go like, oh, like John Mulaney wears like a nice tailored suit on stage, or there's somebody else. I mean, even like the legendary Bernie Mac, Def Comedy Jam, right? Where he's wearing
I ain't scared of y'all.
Yeah, where he's wearing like the pants with the airbrushed face on them, and like really colorful shirt, and it's like I think like those. It doesn't always have to be that distinctive, but it is like people will remember.
Well, I think of someone too, like Patrice O'Neal, who's a bigger guy. So that's a guy that I look to. I go like, he never looked bad on stage.
No,
he was always dressed like they were nice jeans. You have a nice hat or something. He's a guy that can pull off a different kind of hat. Like if I go up there wearing that hat, I look.
Oh yeah, I feel like a real tool.
Yeah, that's not good. But for Patrice, it gave him some cachet.
Yes, totally agreed.
But there is a version of that for me. I don't think it's a hat. I don't think I need to wear a hat on stage.
Right.
But there is like the certain clothing that I can wear that gives me that little, and like it's one of the things where my shoes only stand out to people that know shoes.
Yes, that's true.
And so that's like my little thing to be like, yeah, they'll see this. They know that I put some effort in. Because even if they don't know shoes, they know they're clean. Like everything I wear is going to be like a nice, clean pair of shoes.
Yep.
So it's nice. So this is your first special, which is crazy because you've been doing stand-up for a long time. Is this a lot of like just like a long time coming, or is it newer material? Is it like it's all the best stuff? Yeah.
I'm glad you asked. So this came up right as I was starting to do live performing again, coming out of like right after I was basically vaccinated last year, because I wasn't on the road or anything. I wasn't even like doing shows in the city before I was vaccinated. So I was off except for Zoom shows and like a rare outdoor show for like a little over a year. And so I was writing material over Zoom, and I had a probably 15 minutes that I'd written since I'd recorded my last album. And so I had it turned out that it was like 35 minutes that I'd never recorded for anything, TV or an album or anything before. But I was like, I think because it's my first special and I'm coming at it from this point where it's like I have 35 minutes that's new that hangs together, and then but I don't have like the new hour. I thought this was like a really exciting opportunity to record stuff that I love and just never got to do for like television, or never really had like high quality video of. And it's some things that I think people who have known my stand-up for a while, hopefully it's a couple bits that they'll be like, oh, I love this one.
Yeah.
And then for people that don't know me, there is like a little bit of a like catch up on this stuff element to it. And now, since I recorded exactly a year ago this week, and it's kind of a long process to get it out into the world, I now am like halfway to the next hour getting
which is great, because hopefully this will pop for you, and
I hope so.
help sell some tickets, because that's one of the things that some guys make it look so goddamn easy to sell tickets. Isn't it crazy?
I know.
Like, but there's other guys that you've seen them do the work, but there's others like where and again, we won't throw anybody under the bus, but they just seem to be able to just get people to show up, and it's not even a slight against their comedy. I'm just like, I know so many people that are so funny, but we don't know, we're not marketable in that way.
It's really interesting, and it's like it's a part of the job that I don't like love thinking about, because it's like not the fun part. Even I'm not even saying it in the way, because I think there's some people that are like, everybody's got to be on social media now, and it's like I don't feel that way, because I there are lots of things about the internet and like having an internet presence and having friends that I know through the internet, that I'm like, yeah, I have like a lot of fun just goofing around on Twitter and like Instagram, posting pictures of my dog. But I think the idea of like, okay, now that you know that is a path to speaking to people directly, the obligation to be like, okay, you have to post content at these intervals,
right?
And if you don't, like, the algorithm kind of leaves you behind. And I do think it's really tough to have to take a thing that's like, oh, this is a way to like amplify my voice and talk to people, and now it's like, oh, there are like ways to optimize this, and it's like, I fucking want to optimize.
It's so hard, because it's almost like counterintuitive to who I am, is like, like, oh, you telling me to optimize? Well, fuck you. I'm just going to post when I want. Then be punished for just trying to have fun.
Just trying to have fun, or like share things when I have things that I'm like, ooh, I'm excited to share this. Not like, oh, I'll be rewarded for sharing less refined work more frequently than I will be for like making sure that what I'm putting out is like, oh, I'm so excited for people to see this.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is whatever you're excited about is always the thing that just goes so poorly. And then the thing that you love is the thing that, like, well, the thing that you're just like, man, I'm just gonna throw this up there,
and then it just hits.
And you're like, what the fuck? I can't figure out how people work, what they like about me. Like, everything's funny, but like, you got to get people like, and a lot of times the stuff that pops is usually just because it starts a conversation in the comments, and so you get people commenting, and that's the engagement that they're looking for. And I'm not like I'm not a commenter really. I'm like, I consume stuff. I'm very, very much just like a lurker when it comes to social media, and it doesn't.
I like to, when my friends do stuff that I like, I'll be like, oh, this is great. You know what I mean? I'll be like, hey, congratulations. Or like, I'll share something and be like, oh, this is so fun. People should check this out. But I don't like get into it in the comments. Just like don't, I save that for the group chat.
Yeah. When it comes to confidence though, I mean, that's a key. And I feel like you're kind of the same school, where it's like promoting yourself and trying to like talk yourself up is a struggle. I was at the pool today in my building, and there's a level of confidence that some people, I don't know if it's confidence or just complete and utter disrespect for oneself, but there was this lady, and she's got bad wig confidence. And like, I'm talking, it looked like she was wearing a Dog the Bounty Hunter costume wig, like not even like a good, like the one that you get from Halloween store. And then she had it like pushed like almost down to her eyebrows. And then like this eyebrow, these eyebrows drawn on that, and I'm just like, and she's walking around the pool like, yeah, I'm looking good right now.
I'm crushing it. I think I'm trying to get better about, like, I don't feel usually guilty promoting something that I've worked hard on, or like, oh, I'm coming to this city. I don't feel bad being like, hey, come see me if you're in this city or whatever. But I definitely am not a person that's just like, everything I do, it's terrific. You know what I mean? And I think I wish I had a little more of that.
Yeah. Well, and it's not even that, like I'm always excited about the stuff, but when I get excited about things, I have a hard time conveying it in a way that gets other people excited.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm missing. But going to a point where like, so I'm like, as crazy as that lady looked, I'm like, that's a confident level. Like, she's got a level of confidence that like I should tap into a little bit. And I've been trying to work on that.
I think I look good in this wig. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me what
Yeah.
other people think. Or I just it makes me feel good. So I feel good about it, and I'm not worried about it. Yeah. I think that is like, there is something so aspirational about that, right? To just be like, yeah, I'm killing it. Why wouldn't I think that?
Right. And we both have enough self-awareness that we're not going to look that crazy either. Like we're gonna but then there is
right.
that aspect where there's some people, they just embrace something that's so weird that becomes their thing, and then people will pay attention to them for that reason, and then it becomes, and then they go, oh, like Theo Vaughn's a guy that he started rocking a mullet 10 years ago.
Yep.
And people are like, why do you got a mullet? But then they hear him talk and they're like, oh, this guy's got some crazy like stories, and just like he thinks about things different, so it matches up with him.
Yep.
Whereas, you know, there's some people that will, they're all show and no go.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of yes, I understand that vibe. And it's like, I also think like there are people who are really good and really gifted at, or like put a lot of effort into making sure that like the things they do, they share. Like I think like Sam Morril is someone who I've known for years and is just like a tremendous joke writer, and he is so rigorous about like sharing his jokes on Instagram and Twitter, and I imagine TikTok. I think definitely TikTok.
Yeah.
And like, and getting that stuff out into the world, and like that's part of the work, you know what I mean? And I think like there are points at which like I'm like, oh, but I don't wanna. And it's like, certainly some of it is like laziness, you know, of me being like, I don't wanna, or like a lack of confidence and being like, but if I do, and what if people don't like it? Then it wasn't worth it.
Right.
And it's like, I do think there's a level at which I could be like more diligent.
Yeah.
And even if it wouldn't have the same results, I think there would be some results.
Right. And it's something that I've worked on in the past year, like using reels, and that's been a very nice thing to, because for so long, if you'd post stand-up clips on Instagram, they would go nowhere, even if you were popular, because they just weren't promoting in that format.
Yes.
And now,
right. So much of what people see, not even just what they like, but so much of what people see is algorithmically driven. So it's like they're just not used to seeing this, and it's selected against because Instagram didn't want people watching this. And now they're like, oh, we see how much people like TikTok, so we want to create reward, incentivize our content like it's TikTok as well.
But make sure you put captions on it, or
I know. I like that though, because I rarely when I'm scrolling, I usually have like a podcast or a music on, and so I'm just as happy to like read the joke, like kind of in watch the performance.
It's like, I don't mind reading it, but like I'm like, but I should be listened to.
yes. Oh yeah, I totally like it's like, I understand that there's a disability access issue, and that's what makes captions extra good. But like, I'm performing, damn it. So if you can listen, you should listen.
There's cadence here, there's delivery here, and you're just cutting
there
that
are
all
nuances and subtleties. My timing. I agree. I'm so pretentious.
Yeah, we are pretentious though. Is there anyone more pretentious about, like, when people share comedy with me, I'm like, do you want to know what I think, or do you want to just a generic ha?
Yeah.
Like, because I'll get into it. I will tear this apart, and it doesn't even mean I don't think it's funny. It just means I've been doing this a long time, and like, I have some clips that people will be like, I saw that coming. I'm like, yeah, I know. I didn't want this clip to be the viral one.
Right.
I got other ones. I just threw it up there.
Right. This is just one of them.
Yeah.
But that's and that's hard too, right? Like, I think that the contextlessness of the internet makes things difficult sometimes. And it's like, you know, you post something and it's, you know, even when it used to be like a late night set right on the Tonight Show would be like the thing that introduces you to the world.
Yeah.
And it would be 4.5-5 minutes of jokes that's like, hey, here's what I'm about. And then people would see it all at once and be like, I get what they're about. And now it's like a joke where you're just like, I bought this pair of pants that was like too big. And now people are like, if that goes viral, all of a sudden, all anyone knows you from is you're the guy that had the pants that were
the too big pants guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that is so frustrating, because it can be like especially with TikTok, where they're like, oh, this is your lane, and if you go outside this lane, we're shutting you down.
Yep.
Like, you got to just keep giving them the same stuff, basically. And it's very tough. When it comes to just your day-to-day life right now, with things getting a little bit more normal, what and there's still so much chaos, we're not getting into anything deep, but like, what's something that you see in the new world that we're living in that just kind of go, I don't know if I like that happening?
Oh, interesting. That's a good question. It just like world comedy wise, or like life wise?
Just life wise, yeah.
Just life-wise?
Yeah. We've done a lot of comedy talk. We're trying to move.
Yeah. No, for sure.
That, like, the rest, like, the listeners can actually relate to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm like still a pretty masked up person.
Yeah.
And I think that there are some people that have like a level of comfort that's different than mine.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And, you know, like, if like we're in a store and people aren't crammed in and it doesn't feel like especially perilous, you know what I mean? I'm like not gonna be like, oh, I hate this person for making a different public health choice than I'm making. But I do think the aggressiveness that some people have about like this like, I'm making my choice and your choice has to be my choice,
right?
Even though your choice doesn't, like, my choice to wear a mask does not adversely affect anyone.
That's kind of what I was thinking about, where it's, like, I think whether it's the people that want to wear masks, or they want everyone, or they don't want to wear a mask, or they want everyone to wear a mask, just being so vocal about it. And we've gotten past that, but there's still some people that they're like, they'll be like, oh, you're wearing a mask, or oh, I can't believe you're not wearing a mask. That, like, the people that are still picking those fights, it's like, no, we're past that part.
And I'm personally like closer to the second thing than to the first thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, it just feels, I don't know. It just like, I think the one way, I guess this is the reason why it feels like slightly different to me, is that one way, right? I think if you're like, hey, I would prefer if you were wearing a mask right now,
right?
Like that seems like the nice way to do it, right? Like, it just feels like it's a closed area, whatever. That's the nice, there's a nice way to say it, and then there's like a shitty way to say it. There's the like, oh, like you were saying way. And I think like that is, you know, there's like, hey, could you do a little extra for my benefit? That's something. And it's like, it's asking something of someone for sure, but it's like for your benefit. But I've you know, had people kind of react to me in certain ways, or like heard a ton of stories from friends that are just like, oh, why are you doing that? And it's like, hey man, this is my business right now. Like, don't, you know, like that's my decision is not for your benefit or detriment. I mean, like, it is for your benefit,
right?
But if that's not something you want, it's certainly not to your detriment. And I think like that kind of aggressiveness of like I'm exercising this choice that we've been given, right?
Well, I think the key word there is aggressiveness. Whether it's the aggressiveness is what, because and that probably is the thing that I like the least about this new, because people seem to be more aggressive right now.
Yes.
Like, whatever they're believing, whatever because they were cooped up, or whatever they felt like they weren't being heard, or because they're financially strapped, because things are shitty, they go, oh, well, I gotta be angry. And it's like, kind of internet anger is getting way more into real life,
right? People are talking in real life like it's the internet. That's such a great point. Like, people are like yelling at each other in a way where it's like, you could just not, like, and which you can also just not online. But when you're like a little mouthy online, nobody is gonna swing on you,
right?
You know what I mean? And when you talk in person, it's like, I think people either want that rush of confrontation, or like don't consider that, like, that when you talk to a person that way and they're in person, the like feelings that you're making them feel, they have like an outlet for them, whether that's healthy or not, that is immediate, in the way that like when you're talking like that to somebody, when you're talking, you know, being a little aggressive to somebody online, their outlet for it is just like screaming into their pillow or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that aggressiveness, I'm not a fan of that. Now, something else that just from like a personal point of view that I got pretty comfortable with during the pandemic, and now I'm like, it's a treat for myself, but I gotta stop doing it so much, is ordering food delivered to my house, where
Oh
you just
yeah.
go, oh, I'm gonna get something, and it usually would cost $20, and it's gonna cost 40 after
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
And it's really just straight laziness.
It's
And
tough. Well, it's tough too because like we're mostly, my wife and I are mostly, if we're going out, we're like eating outside, and
yeah,
so sometimes that's not an option weather-wise or whatever.
yeah,
And we're in kind of this middle ground now. It feels like where I'm like back in an office most days. Like,
mhm,
I've stopped work because when I was working from home, I cooked more than I have
yeah,
in years. And I was like, even if we were ordering the groceries, I would cook at home
yeah,
almost every night, probably 4 to 5 nights a week, some nights every night, some weeks every night. And now, because I'm back in the office, I feel like I'm getting home later, and I just like, it's not like I miss that part of the pandemic, but I'm like, oh, life is back at full tilt, and
yeah.
I'm similarly like allowing myself, like, I if I'm back out in the world being exhausted and around people all day,
Mhm.
um I'm gonna allow myself the luxury of like ordering in a little more than I should.
Yeah, and it is a luxury, but it's also like, yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm like, man, why don't I have as much money as I thought? Oh, because
Yeah,
I
yeah. Oh, right.
keep
Right.
ordering food that doesn't need, and then it's just like piling up in the fridge because I'm not even finishing it all. Like, it's just
Hmm.
but yeah, I've been cooking a lot more too, and especially summer, like grilling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Being in New York though, you're like, you're going through a different situation, because the one nice thing about being in Cleveland when all this is happening is there's space here. So
Yeah.
like we're pretty spread out. Like, even going to the grocery store, I can go to the grocery store and pick a time of day where it's just going to be basically me.
Yeah.
Like, it's never like, and that's just not an option in New York.
No, I felt very like everything's on top of everyone
Yeah,
forever. And I was really like jealous. Like, even, even early pandemic, when they were like, we don't know if you're supposed to wear a mask outside still,
yeah,
right? Like that first several months. And my parents live in the suburbs of Boston, and they were like, oh yeah, every day we go out for a walk and we don't wear masks because we don't see anyone. And I was like, oh, that sounds so nice.
yeah. I mean, I got a dog just before the pandemic started,
Yep.
and I just take her on so many walks, and it was so
Yep.
like, it was, yeah, and like, if you did see anybody, like, we would just cross the street or just
Yeah,
give them a
of
really
course.
wide
And
berth.
we just didn't have that option.
Yeah.
And like it stressed me out. And that's not, I don't feel like complaining about it. I'm like, this is a choice that I made. But I am like, oh, this was a part of that I'm like, I understand this trade-off in this situation. And it
Mhm.
was like a tough part.
Well, and that's also, I think, why some people are so like adamant about because in a place like New York, where
Yeah.
in a, like, masks make a lot of sense,
Yes.
even like on a day-to-day basis. Riding the subway, I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, I think like hopefully
it's
I'll get to a point where I will feel like, oh, it's safe enough to not wear one on the
yeah,
subway. But right now, like it's getting less consistent. I think it's still technically required on the subway,
yeah,
but it's less consistent than it was. And I'm like, come on, we're like, I like, my elbow is touching your spleen right now,
right.
you know.
Oh,
It's
so
such tight quarters. I missed because I used to have a car in the city when I lived uptown in Manhattan, and
mhm,
I I like missed that. I didn't miss like driving every day, but I missed like, oh, I need to go somewhere. I can just be in this like bubble that
yeah,
nobody else is in, and I can like listen to music and breathe and roll the windows down and like get some
yeah, and
kind
have
of
some space.
a
Like,
little
it's
space.
because
Yeah.
you can kind of get into that bubble in your head
Yep.
when you're on the subway and stuff like that,
Totally.
where you're just listening and you're kind of zoned out. But there is always like a spatial awareness of
Yes.
people are coming on and off, and like,
Yep.
you can't just kind of melt into it the way you would in your own car
Yeah,
commuting.
absolutely. Yep. I think that's right. And I was like, oh, like I think summer 2020, I was like, do I just buy a car? And they suspended on-street parking. Like there were no just because of like there were fewer people in the city and they
Yeah,
were doing less street sweeping. And I was like, do I get a car? And I was like, I know as soon as they reinstate the like every other day parking or like twice a week parking
Yeah.
or whatever, I would be like, I'm gonna get 6 tickets a week and I'm gonna
Right.
hate
You get
it.
all the tickets. And then now with gas prices being
I
five, six
know.
bucks, it's like, yeah,
Yep.
you made the right
Yeah.
choice.
Especially in the city. Like again, like you were saying, I'm similarly not on the road as much as I used to be. And
Mhm.
so even though there are probably, 10 to 20 days a year where I'm like, oh, it'd be so great to have a car right now. There's there's whatever 325 days a year where I'm like, oh, this is nice to just take the subway or to like to rent a car for one day
Right.
and
Yeah.
not have to worry about it. Like
Yeah.
I rented a car for a
There's
gig.
options out there that are more,
Yeah.
it might be expensive to rent a car, but it's not as bad as everything that you have to deal with,
Yeah.
especially in the city. Cause it's just,
And
yeah.
and it's like I rented a car for a gig recently and I was like, this kind of takes a bite out of the money I'm making. But I was like, well, it was a zip car, so gas is included, and I would have to
Yeah.
pay for that. And uh, the price that I paid for this would have been like my month's car insurance. Even if
Right.
I didn't drive, I would have paid that for the month.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
I felt like, okay, this is not
Do you,
unreasonable to do.
do you have any tour dates coming up?
I do. I am doing uh July 8th and 9th in Bloomington, Indiana at the Comedy Attic, which is wonderful, such a fun club.
Yeah.
And I'm doing I think I can probably say this. I'm doing the live Wait Wait Don't Tell Me show in Philadelphia in on June 30th, which I'm really excited for. And then I'm doing another that's at like a big outdoor theater, and then I'm doing one in Chicago in July. And then a bunch of stuff around New York City. I'm trying to think if that's everything I've got out
That's
on the
awesome though.
road.
The wait, don't tell me. That'll be very, very
It's
fun.
really fun. I
Yeah.
really like doing those. They've been so kind to me the last few years, and we did a bunch of Zoom shows. Like I was able to do that a little more often even than I can do the live shows just
Yeah.
because of my schedule at Jesus and Marrow. I can't like sneak away to Chicago on just any Thursday, but
Right.
they've been so good to me and like it's so much fun and the there are increasingly comics of they're like bringing in more and more comics in the roster that are like I feel like my people that I was friends with already, and like I love meeting the people that have been on the show forever. Like it was such a thrill to be like, oh, I get to work with Paula Poundstone. This rules. She's amazing.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, I've worked with like Karen Chi and Emmy Blotnick, and like it's just it's fun to be like, oh, we're already friends, and this is like the rare time where you get to do a a road gig that you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is just like buddies. It's
Yeah.
so nice.
And it's also such a fun format
Yeah.
to be funny in, where it's like, how much of that is written and how much of it is off the cuff?
Yeah, so it is the bluff the listener section, which if you're familiar, you write like a 200 word fake news story or funny version of a real news story,
Right.
and then a listener contestant has to guess which one is the real one and which two are the lies, and that you pre-write so
Mhm.
that it sounds smooth and newsy. And then there's a little joke at the end that's like a prediction for the future, and that you write right before the show starts. But
Yeah.
everything else is for the contestant or for the
Yeah.
panelists. Everything else is riffed. Like
Yeah.
Peter comes in, Peter Sagal, the host, and who or if there's a guest host, they come in very prepared with
Mhm.
like jokes and questions for the guest and the questions for the panelists and the contestants. But like it is very riffy, which I love. I'm
Oh,
like
I love it too.
so
Yeah.
I have so much fun with it. I love the pre-written parts,
Yeah.
but like it's such a joy to me to do a show where like I just feel like I'm walking into this. It feels like getting to drive a race car just around a parking lot, where it's like, oh, somebody built this beautiful machine and I get this ideal circumstances in which I just get to like goof off, and it's so
Yeah.
fun.
And I mean, being a comedian, that's part of the like the best part is mixing those two worlds of
Yeah.
pre-written stuff that you're like, okay, I hope this is it. But then like when you have something that happens in the moment and you're like, it's only funny in that it's the best
Yes.
feeling.
It's
And that's
so fun.
yeah,
And
it's so
like,
fun. That's why I've been been doing radio for about 10 years now,
yeah.
and having those moments. I mean, there's a lot of misses, but there's a lot of hits too, and you're just so happy when something just clicks and just in the moment and you're just like, yeah, got it.
And it's the pleasure of like, crowd work and improv and like I imagine like jazz, right? Or like
Yeah.
jam bands and stuff. And like I think it's whatever you're keyed into. Um but like that spontaneous creation is like so fun. And in comedy where it like really feels like you can get to a level, I think, where you're good at it and it, like you said, hits and misses, but like where your batting average gets strong.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think, to an audience feels a little bit electric of like, oh, this doesn't have to be good. This
Right.
could be
Yeah.
bad.
It's the moment is what makes it
Yeah.
extra funny.
I love
Even if
that.
it's funny, like just the moment and the spontaneity of it makes it funny. And that's why there's so many clips of like heckler videos and stuff like that that go, or just crowd work stuff. That's great content for a lot of
right, because people are like, this will never happen again. This was like fast and exciting and like in the moment in a way that like that is not replicable.
Right. So Josh Gondelman, thanks for checking out, being on the Bill Squire Show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And you got a new special coming out June 21st. It's going to be on Apple, Amazon, basically anywhere you can rent Vimeo, or buy stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
And on YouTube, and it's called Josh Gondelman, People Pleaser.
Thanks so much, Bill. Great to see you, man.
Great to see you, and I can't wait to watch it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's live now. So, hey, welcome to, I'm calling this YouTube Throwbacks, where I get with another comic and we watch some of our old YouTube videos and just kind of cringe at what we were doing when we first started. And my first guest is Brent Terhune. Celebrate the summer. How you doing, Brent?
I'm okay. I'm ready to cringe at my own stuff.
Yeah.
You mentioned this idea, and you're like, "Do you have any older videos?" And I was like, "Oh, don't make me relive that stuff."
Oh, it's tough. It's real tough. The video that I'm going to play for me is probably 14 or 15 years old, and it's from Crackers in Indianapolis, like one of the first times I worked there, the downtown location.
Yeah, that was my my home club for a long time, and I recorded my first album there.
Oh, nice.
So I have fond memories of that club for sure.
I had a great time there. There was a lot of fun things going on there. I'm going 1 year off because I have I don't hear myself coming because my equipment is crappy, but we'll make do. But before we get into all that stuff, if you don't know Brent, he maybe you've been Terhuned in the past. He does these great parody videos where he's the guy in the truck just going crazy about whatever's happening in the world, and he does these hilarious rants that trick people all the time into thinking that he's some right-wing numbskull, but he's really just doing a parody, and they're great. How are those been going lately?
I haven't. I done one maybe a week or so ago, but I haven't been doing them as much. But I get people always ask what the name of the character is, and I was like, forever I didn't have one, but I guess I started calling him Alpha Male.
Oh, nice.
Like he just is like the toughest dude in the room, which just happens to be his truck, and he's alone, and just rants about everything. Like anytime you see a truck covered in flags, that's the kind of guy I'm going for,
Yeah, well, you're nailing it, and you know people have probably seen your videos. They've been featured all over the internet. Gone viral hundreds of times. Just hilarious stuff. But you're also a great stand-up comedian, and you're going to be at Hilarities this week at Thursday through Sunday, right?
Yeah, June 16th through the 19th in Cleveland. So it'll be good. That's one of you're lucky, dude, because you have such a great home club in your town. Like people ask one of my favorite clubs. It's Hilarities.
Yeah, it's the best. I do know that I'm lucky because it is such a great club, and I'll be doing Thursday and Friday with you.
Excellent, because that's breaking news. I didn't know who was on the show, so it's good that you'll be on the show.
Yeah.
Bill is very funny, and the thing that you did a long time ago, was it called the Perfect 10, Bill?
Yeah.
Were you doing like new 10 minutes every month?
Yeah, and then releasing it as like a YouTube video that was like multi-camera. It was a lot. It was really hard.
Well, just to write 5 new minutes in a month is difficult, let alone double that and then be filming all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I watched a bunch of them, and it's to even put yourself out there, is a huge. Put yourself out there with stuff that is worked for the past 3 years, let alone something it's like, here's new this month.
Yeah, and there's varying degrees of success, and a lot of that stuff I've taken and kind of worked on more, and now it's becoming something else, which is, I like that evolution of the material, but it was such a fun project to just bear down and write so much stand-up and just really focus on it, and, I was going up anywhere I could all month long, doing so much, so many like open mics or whatever, just to see what reaction or just get the smoothness of it, all that stuff, to try and film it at the end of the month. And they all went pretty okay. There were some that were better than others, but it was a lot of fun, and it was incredibly hard.
And you were going you said, just going up anywhere and everywhere. Sometimes you get to a show and you're like, this isn't the time for new material. Because my baby's gonna die and suffer before, because the hits aren't working, but to plow through is tremendous.
Yeah, and there's definitely some people that were like, and like if I was doing a longer set, like if I was featuring or something, I would sneak them in, whatever I was working on, with some stuff that I knew would work. But a lot of it was just guest sets or open mics and stuff like that, where I'm doing a 5 to 10 minute set, and I'm just trying to get this stuff to sound like decent stand-up. And I mean, one of those videos from that has like 12 million views. Like I cut it up and put it on YouTube Shorts, and it's got 12 million views. So it did pay off.
Yeah,
it's a bit that is about my daughter getting a job, and I think the punchline is very predictable, but it's still funny. But like that, because it's predictable, that's what everybody comments. And then they just drive the YouTube algorithm like, oh, people are commenting, so I guess they want to see more.
Yeah, that's a big part of the videos that I do is, people commenting one way or the other, or they don't like it or they don't understand it. And then I always try to, this peek behind the curtain, I always try to have something in the background to like throw people off. So when I was doing these videos at my mom's house, I would not cut the grass on purpose. And then people would be like, man, you need to cut your grass. There'd be like 50 comments of that. That kind of stuff I love. Or you probably know as well as I do, any creator, if you ever wanted to know anything about yourself, put a video on the internet, and the internet will let you know that you're fat, you're stupid, you have no eyebrows. I have blonde eyebrows. They're there, but they're like, where's your eyebrows at?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see them. I can see them. They're there. But if
I wear a hat, it's that cuts them off.
Yeah. The internet is unapologetic, but the thing is, it drives me a little crazy because like I'll post stuff that I know is funny, but it's not controversial or like just trying to get that engagement to get people to comment. Like just comment, even anything. Like I'll take a negative comment if it means it gets it in the algorithm more. But I'm also not the guy that likes to continue to like argue with people in the comments. So it's nice when you get something that's going and other people will just do the arguing for you.
Yeah. Nobody's ever walked away from an internet fight being like, you know what? My mind was changed.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
I feel better. My blood pressure's not high.
Yeah, let's all right, so let's dig into this little program that we're gonna do here. Like I said, we're watching old YouTube videos of us doing stand up, and we're just gonna kind of critique them. And if there's any point, just like hold your hand up, and I'll pause the video.
Okay, cool.
All right, there we go. All right, now you'll notice right off the bat that it starts with like a white screen. That's because I had to put my signature drawing caricature of myself. Here you go. Boom, there it is. You see that? You like that?
Yeah, no, I do like it actually. Yeah.
So like, yeah, this is like my suit era, which is, when I was working the road a lot, and I kind of like it. I might bring it back at some point. So, all right, here we go. Crackers in Indianapolis.
I'm getting too fat. Yeah, that's why I dress like this. I'm not trying to look nice. I'm just trying to hide everything. And I gotta wear a tie, else this button's gonna fly off and hit this lady in the face. pants are so tight it's making my farts louder. This isn't even a nice suit. It's a George Foreman. I swear to God. Came with my grill.
So when I got that suit, it was right when I moved to New York City for a little bit. And my mom's like, well, we should get you a suit in case you get on Letterman or something, just so you have it.
Yeah, that's a mom that's supportive of. You're gonna need a suit for Letterman.
Yeah, she just wanted to make sure I had a suit, so she got me, and had to go to the big and tall place and got the George Foreman suit. So it didn't actually come with my George Foreman grill, but it was indeed a George Foreman suit. Before he got moved over to what's it called? Like, he got bought out by Walmart, and now all the George stuff is at Walmart. If you know anything about the fashion industry.
No, because I'm just learning that George Foreman had a clothing line. Is that still a clothing line?
Yeah, it's just called George, I believe, and I think it's still at Walmart.
Okay, then I own some of that. I always thought it was like in reference to a king, but it turns out it's a boxer.
It's either him or one of his children. I don't know who's the namesake for it. Yeah, but it was a reliable suit. But by the time, like, I wore that so many times that it had gotten worn to a point of, like, parts of it were like shiny. Mm-hmm. It was the best part of it, machine washable.
Oh, nice.
So
traveling with the suit is that you got to just have all the pieces. You got to have the tie. You got to iron the shirt. Like, it's. Yep. I admire a suit comic for being willing to just put up with all that shit, Right.
But I was the disheveled suit comic, so if it looked a little wrinkled or whatever, it was fine because I never tucked my shirt in. I was never trying to look nice. It was like a suit with sneakers and like whatever tie, I'd get from. I bought so many ties from different like Goodwills. That's what I do on days off is I just go try and find ties.
Yeah. So do you know how to tie a tie?
Oh, yeah, because I was a Mormon, so I've been tying ties for a long time.
That's what they say about the Mormons is they know how to tie a tie.
Do you know how to tie a tie?
I do, but then I tend to tie one and then just leave it that way.
Yeah.
But I do know how to tie a tie, and I couldn't tell you if it's, what is it, Windsor or half Windsor, whatever. I don't know. I just know the one way that I learned.
Yeah, I know the one way that I learned. I don't know any of the other like names of it, but like I know there's guys now that are like doing these crazy intricate tie knots that they look awesome, but they look incredibly hard and time consuming. And that the beauty of wearing the suit on stage is that I just didn't have anything. I didn't have to worry about what I was wearing on stage. As long as I had the shirt and like an iron, I'd throw it together. Like, not that
Steve Jobs problem. Yeah. You didn't have to think about it. And then it's like your closet was a cartoon characters. You just open it and it's all the same outfit.
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of what it looks like now because I've gotten into, now they're just all Hawaiian shirts though.
Okay.
Because that's the fatness level that I'm at right now. It's either like Hawaiian shirts or anime.
Anime? What kind of anime do you like?
Oh, I don't like anime. That's why I went with Hawaiian shirts.
Okay. I thought you were saying you were into anime. Yeah.
No, like the Dragon Ball Z shirts, they tend to make those in my size as well.
That's true. Well, let's be honest. You and I probably, I don't know, the same size. I don't want you, if I'm fatter than you, I don't want you to think I'm calling you just as fat as me. But my closet is full of wrestling shirts or horror shirts. So if I go to my wife's families, I'm like, I got to find like that one T-shirt that will work around grandma's, but still look okay,
Yeah, I do still rock a lot of T-shirts too, but I've been trying to do more button-downs, just especially in the summer when it's, T-shirt with a jacket looks fine on stage, but like me in just a T-shirt on stage is kind of like it just clings to all my fat and rolls and it's distracting. So these like Tommy Bahama shirts are a little flowier and they just look, they're definitely like attention getting, but for the right reason, not because they're like grabbing my fat.
Nobody's talking but behind their hand.
Yeah.
As if to cover, whisper.
Right. And now, I would just go be the shirt off comic, but Bert took that. So, we all just got to find our own thing.
Yeah, Bert. Well, Bert can have it. I'm not trying to attempt to take my shirt off.
Me either. I actually I don't even know if I could bring myself to do it.
Did you
All right,
see
let's
that video last week of like an
Okay, keep going.
orangutan was like had this guy like pulling him through the cage. Did you see
Yeah.
that video? And like he was holding him by the shirt, and I was just like, "Well, take your shirt off." But if that were me, I'd be like, "Guess I'm gonna die." Like, I'm not taking the shirt off, so I'll just die.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the choices you have to make in that situation. And you know what?
Yeah.
That's not that bad. We've had a good run.
Life. Got to feed an orangutan before it killed me.
Yeah. That's a good story. I mean, if you're a comic that dies getting yoked up by an orangutan, that's a pretty funny way to die. Like we would have a good time at the funeral.
Yeah, I would. Bring the monkey.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's keep going with this.
When I go to the grocery store, people ask me where the junk food is. Like, hey, dude, where are the Twinkies? I'm like, it doesn't matter. I have them all. I had this one friend who's always trying to help me lose weight. He's like, Bill, losing weight's not hard. All you gotta do is watch what you eat. Like, what do you have for breakfast? I'm like, cereal? It's like, how many bowls do you have? I'm like, how many bowls are in a box? What kind of milk do you use? Whipped cream. It's so good.
So I posted that one because I put that on a special that I did a while ago, and people were like, that actually doesn't work. Like they had that's one of those ones that got people commenting because they're like, does it work? Blah, blah, blah. And like, so everybody's trying whipped cream and cereal to see what that concoction would be like.
Yeah, that's just toppings to ice cream.
Yeah.
Whipped cream and cereal.
Exactly. But it's not bad.
No.
Not bad at all. All right, let's keep going here.
I'm a dumb guy. I didn't do well in high school. I remember the day everyone got their scores back for the SAT. They're all talking about how well they did. They're like, hey, Bill, what'd you get on the SAT? I'm like, I got a B. A B? How'd you get a B? I studied really hard. I told that joke one time in West Virginia, and they're like, hey, quit bragging.
Hey, quit bragging. I hate
these
that.
like for being old jokes. Like I wouldn't cringe at these. I don't know how you feel, but they're not. These are good jokes.
They're good jokes, but it's the little thing like the hey, quit bragging. I hate that so much.
Yeah.
I hate that so much.
That's a thing that only the creator would cringe at because I don't think it's terrible.
Well, because I've used it in so many different ways, and then like I've heard other comics. It's just one of those things that's just like an easy.
Yeah.
It's a little easy, is all it is. Like a little hack.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, keep going.
Because they hate dogs. Hurts their mullets. I hated school though, because they always taught you things that didn't make any sense. So remember math when they teach you this? A negative times a negative is a positive? Yeah. Tell it to my bank. I never got a call from them. Hey, Bill, we see you got a couple of overdrafts here. Now you got $1,000. Have a good weekend, buddy. We love you. We're a bank and we love you.
That's when I thought $1,000 was like so much money.
Well, some weeks it is to me.
I mean, it still is a lot of money, but it's just like
yeah.
$1,000. Like I mean, at this era in my comedy career, having a comma in my bank account was quite rare.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that you were making half that this week. That joke of negative times a negative is a positive. Tell that to my bank account. That could be a very Rodney Dangerfield-esque joke. Hey, tell that to my bank account. Like that could be a Rodney joke.
Yeah, for sure. I would get comparisons to Rodney, especially if I wore a red tie with the suit. They'd, not so much of my style. They're just like, oh, a fat guy in a suit. That's a comedian.
You just look slightly like somebody because with red hair and the red beard, people just send me pictures, and it's like, dude, we kind of look like each other, but don't tell that guy that you think he looks like me because it's not a compliment.
Right, exactly. All right, we're almost done here. We got 1 minute left.
So broke right now, no money. And I'm not saying that because I want like your pity. I'm saying that because I'm tired of people from India calling me and asking me to pay for my credit cards.
This one's problematic. Well, I'm gonna get that out of the way. This is Harry Kondabalu would not enjoy this voice I'm about to do coming up.
Okay.
just warning everybody.
I'm tired of that, because everybody, you always go, hello, Mr. Squire, could you please pay your credit? No, I'm not going to. And here's what you gotta do. If you get someone from India calling you, and you want them to stop, this is what you do. They'll be like, sir, you've not made a payment on your credit card in over a year. Could you please make a payment today? I'm like, yeah, I'll pay. I'll pay every last penny. I'll pay my whole credit card. I'll pay all my credit cards off right now. If you can say caterpillar. Caterpillar, goddamn. I can spell it. They're good spelling bees.
It's not as cringy as I remember, but still not,
Did you get feedback on that one from people?
So back in the day, it was just like people just laughed. There was one comic when I was working at, I don't know, some like Yoder room, and he's like I was trying to get like a late show set together, and he's like, yeah, don't do that joke. It's really racist. I'm like, it is? I'm like, it's just a funny joke. And he's like, no, it's not. And so ever since then, I was kind of aware of it.
Okay. By the way, does my internet suck?
I don't think so. I think that video is just really loud.
Okay, well, it feels like I'm laggy over here.
Okay.
I did want to point out
if the video's lagging a little bit, like it's fine on the video, just so you know, it's just the connect. There's a lot of things running right now.
Okay. I will that the video from where this club is shot. There's that pole that's right behind your right shoulder.
Yeah.
That, as far as I ever knew, that pole served no purpose for anything. It was just a pole down the bricks.
And they could have just taken it out?
As far as I know, like maybe they didn't take it out because it served a purpose, but I never I would hold on to it and stuff, and I never felt like anything was moving through that.
Yeah.
But it was always it's just like a weird pole that serves no purpose on the stage where everybody's looking.
I thought it was for the sign or something. I feel like it was electrical.
I don't know. I just know that it was odd to have a pole right there on stage for no reason.
I
Put
agree.
another pole on the other side to balance it out.
Yeah, just to make it symmetrical. Agreed.
Yeah. I do have one of those bricks from that wall, by the way.
Oh, really?
The club closed. Yeah, I have one of those bricks.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. Because it became another comedy club for a little bit. Jokers,
yeah,
right?
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah,
after that. So.
All right. Well, what do you? That's the set. That's the. Again, I was a working comic, so there are jokes that would land, but there definitely some stuff in there that's a little hacky, a little corny, and just outdated at this point.
How far into comedy were you during that video?
Probably 4 or 5 years.
Okay. It wasn't, dude. It wasn't. I wouldn't cringe at that, but
yeah,
it's not me saying it. So.
Right. All right. So how long ago was this video that you sent me?
I know it was posted 4 years ago, but it could be older. I don't know. I tend to take down some of my older stuff.
Yeah.
Just so there's no accident of anybody ever seeing it. And for the sole reason of cringe.
Yeah.
You look back, even videos from a year ago, as me or the character, I'm like, I can't believe I said something in that way, or
Right. Yeah. It can be tough. All right, let's get into it though. This is Brent Terhune at Side Splitters, and you look
Tampa, Florida,
younger for sure.
Yeah, from far away, I'm very young.
It was like a dance club thing, and there were black lights everywhere, and I was standing under one.
Let me get.
It was like a dance club thing, and there were black lights everywhere, and I was standing under one, and she goes, "Hey, you got a stain on your pants." I looked down. She was right. I had a stain on my pants right here. And before you go judging me, what had happened was, you know when you put your pants in the washer and you dump the soap in, it landed right here, and that shows up under a black light. I didn't know that. And neither did anybody else. So I was on stage and everybody was like, oh man, that is a lot.
Do you take pride in having big loads?
Yeah, I do actually. There was this weird thing on Facebook ad that came through, and it was called T Drive. We did like a whole segment on the podcast I do called The Field Trip, but it was called T Drive. But the thing that would catch everybody's eye, it just said bigger loads on it. And so, of course, I go to the comments, and they were hilarious. Like, thanks to T Drive, I can now shampoo a buffalo.
It's one of those things that guys are like absolutely, and I think it comes from porn. You want to see like the visuals in porn are big loads, and so guys are like, oh yeah, I gotta like take pride in a big old load. It's just like, who cares?
And we posed the question: does any woman care?
Yeah,
like, I don't. And nobody would, like one person did, and she was like, I don't care. But I think for the most part, women would be like, no, make them smaller.
Smaller, yeah, that's what I would think. Smaller, easier to deal with. Like, less cleanup.
I've been taking T Drive for a little while now, and I'll report back with the results.
Yeah, please do. I can't wait to find out how big your loads are. The fact that would sell a product though, that like a guy's like, yeah, now I'm a man.
Yeah,
got this.
This is the thing that's been holding me back, not my personality or anything like that.
All right, let's keep going. That was a great joke, by the way. That's very funny.
Oh,
I like the. Yeah, I didn't know that, and neither did anybody else. Like, because nobody would know. They're obviously going to think it's semen.
Yeah.
All right.
It was a capful. It was a lot. That's 2 loads.
Oh, an applause break. Take that, Bill.
If you think that's a dirty joke, it's because you're a dirty person. It's a laundry joke. It's a clean joke. I'm lazy too. Have you guys ever noticed the more dirty dishes you have, the bigger the spoon you'll use? I do the dishes, I'm going to use a normal spoon. A week later, I'm eating Lucky Charms with a ladle. Out of the crock pot. Why is everything in this house so big all of a sudden?
Hey, why don't you just do dishes? Why are you so lazy?
I have a sink full right now. Like,
that's just
a thing.
That's just like the kind of comment that you'd get on a video like that. It's like, well, quit being such a lazy fat ass. Also, you shouldn't even eat cereal because it's bad for it's full of sugar anyway.
It's when people like take a joke seriously.
Oh,
it's like they're like you're asking for advice. Like I don't know who you're trying to help here, sir.
But it's anytime something pops for me, especially on YouTube, it's just the videos are full of comments like that. Like the one about my daughter getting a job at McDonald's. It just like so many people like, why would you talk to your daughter that way? Or blah blah. Like I'm like, this is not a real thing that happened. This is there's something
for humor.
Yeah, there's something close to this happened, and then I turned it into a story that's funny. Like that's what a lot of comics do, but so many people
if you just went up and said exactly what happened, it just would be a lecture and not comedy.
Yeah, and just a lot of people going, oh, okay.
Yeah, not funny.
Yeah.
Do the dishes.
But it's accurate.
Yeah. I don't go for laughs. I go for accuracy.
Yeah. That's gonna be I'm gonna be the most accurate in like. Yeah, you want the comic that tells the truth? I'll tell the truth.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, this is so boring.
Well, I did market myself as not a comic, but I'm a truth teller.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry you couldn't handle the truth.
Right. So I couldn't handle that. My daughter worked at McDonald's for a day and was really bummed out just because it was stressful and the trainers were mean. It's just not as funny, but it's the truth. You wanted the truth.
It's not funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going on this.
I go through the regular glasses and the plastic cups and the coffee cups. Next thing I know, I'm drinking Mountain Dew out of a wine glass. This is a pretty good year for the dew. Pairs well with these pizza rolls. Then my roommate's like, hey, are you drinking out of a measuring cup? I've had 64 ounces of water today, so why don't you back off, Judgy?
That's a part. The judgy
Sometimes
part.
I overeat, like all the time.
Me.
I go through the drive.
That's one where I feel like because you were newer and in front of that crowd, you kind of rush that punchline.
Yep.
Where it's like sometimes I overeat. Then if you give it more of a beat, it's gonna hit harder than the way you kind of bammed it.
Yeah, bam. That thing where I said something. Why don't you calm down, Judgy? That to me is what you said with quit bragging. That is that for me.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, because it's just like a lazy tag. It's either like it keeps the rhythm going, but it's not really that funny, and it could be funnier.
It's like how people nowadays will be like, why don't you learn how to drive, Karen?
Yeah, exactly.
That people will hit the name at the end, and it is funny, but you see that comedy technique a lot.
Yeah, you see that. And then I started comedy at the tail end of On Crack.
Okay.
So like when I first started comedy, there were still quite a few comics, and let's be honest, the comics that were doing that are still doing it. Where the road guys that are just like, yeah, on crack.
Yeah. I somebody just used that phrase this past weekend. It was I bought this movie at a horror convention, and the guy said, "This is like Friday the 13th on crack."
Was it?
Smoke. I haven't watched it yet, but I can't wait for them to hit a pipe at a summer camp. These children.
A horror movie where everybody's on crack actually sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah, I definitely would check that out. And maybe the only sober one is the killer.
Yeah.
To go with the trope of if you do drugs, you die.
And he's not even actually trying to kill them. They're just so paranoid that they keep accidentally killing themselves. And he's like, I'm trying to help you.
What's wrong with you people? Yeah. You never hear it's like a drug addict on crack.
Yeah.
You never hear like that added with drugs already, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like, this is Jason or Friday the 13th on crack. It's lazy. Yeah. It's not good. All right. Especially because crack isn't even the primary drug anymore. I think it'd be on meth or fentanyl. Come on.
Yeah, it's crack laced with fentanyl.
There you go. Very dangerous.
Yes, don't do that.
All right, one more minute here.
I have to order like enough food for 2 people, but it's just for me, so I still pretend like it's for 2 people because I'm ashamed of myself. Let me get 2 burritos supremes and what did she want? 2 more burritos supremes. Extra sour cream, she's a fatty. Extra on mine too, she likes it on mine. The guy at the speaker knows what's going on. What do you want to drink? I'll have a bottled water, thank you. What does she want to drink? Well, she wants Mountain Dew if we're going to play this game, sir.
That's just a lot of references to Mountain Dew in that set.
It is a lot. I was trying to do that set, some of those jokes in like a late night set, and the notes I got back were like, you had too many brands.
Yeah.
In there. Like there was Mountain Dew, and I think one of those jokes had Crock Pot, which I was unaware is an actual brand. I thought that's just what you called that thing, you know?
Oh, yeah. That's good. That's the brand awareness that you want, where you you're like the Band-Aids. Like you're not the adhesive strips. You're Band-Aids. You're
let me get
Crock
a
Pot.
Kleenex.
Yeah, Kleenex.
That's the
exactly.
brand name. Yeah. So if anything, I was doing them a favor by dropping all their products in there, but apparently that particular late night show didn't want that. So,
but also like you can't just say like and give me a Coke or a pop or what. Like I mean, Coke's even a brand, but like a soda. Mountain Dew is yeah.
Yeah, well, slow cooker, like part of the comedy is the specificity, or however you say that word. Apparently, like if you just said the generic thing, it's not as funny as if you say 1992 Ford Taurus.
Exactly.
That's where the jokes are.
1992 economy car.
Yeah.
1992 sedan. Economy sedan.
I should go back and rework all my stand-up to be the most general.
I'll be the most. I'll be the most honest, where I don't embellish anything, and you be the guy that just makes everything like completely great value brand kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'll be the corporate comedian, but only I'm working on behalf of corporate to clean it up.
All right, man. Well, this was a lot of fun. Don't forget that Brent's going to be at Hilarities this weekend, the 16th through the 19th, right?
Thursday through Sunday. So that will be Father's Day.
Yep. So going to be a lot of good shows. I'm doing Friday and Saturday with him. Or no, I'm doing Thursday and Friday. And then I think Brian Kenny's doing the rest of the weekend because I have some other shows going on. So.
Brian's super funny. I worked with him a couple times ago.
Yeah, and then Dave Flint's hosting. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. I love coming to Cleveland, one of my favorite cities, and I'm not just saying that because I'll be there this week.
Right. He means it.
I do.
Means it. Let me ask you this. Did you get albums taken down off of Spotify? Because I just was like, my Spotify numbers were way down because I don't check them that often. But I was like, oh, what's going on here? And I guess all my albums got taken down, which a lot of them are independent albums. So I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, it's I think mine were taken down off Spotify, except for maybe like my stuff that had to do with my dry bar comedy special. For some reason, that's still up there. But all my other albums are on Apple Music.
Yeah.
So I had some of those jokes were on my first album. Then my second one came out 2020. And then I just recorded a special in December of 2021, December 19th. So that'll be coming out sometime this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and that's apart from the dry bar special. That's
Yeah. So that's completely different. I had like post like getting back out on the road post COVID or however you want to refer to it now.
Yeah.
I wrote the most I ever wrote in my career. So it was like a renaissance of comedy for me.
Nice. And where'd you film that at?
At Zany's in Nashville.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Very cool. And are you looking for distribution still, or are you just gonna do the YouTube thing, or?
My manager's looking for distribution, but I feel like anymore, like people put their stuff on YouTube and like there's no shame in that at all. Like that's most accessible.
Yeah, it's very accessible, and I mean, there's a lot of times where someone will get it on, like if you're not getting it on Netflix with a campaign to push it, I feel like it can get buried on the other stuff, but like on YouTube, it's gonna show up. Like people are gonna watch it. So
not everybody has Netflix, and not everybody has Amazon or whatever. But like you could tell your grandma how to get to YouTube.
Right, exactly. It's just a link. Send them a link, and boom, there it is. Yeah, so I didn't have like a full camera shoot for my album Bam Bam, but I had enough that I was like, I can turn this into something, and I made it into, and it's done pretty well on YouTube, and then I cut it up and put it on TikTok too in like 5 parts because they allowed to do the longer videos, and like the first part has got almost 20,000 views, so that's pretty cool.
Nice. And like I think for the most part, like it just has to sound okay and not look terrible. Nobody's like, this is only a 2 camera, not a 3.
Yeah, because
I'm out.
People with stand-up, people just want it to be funny. That's all they care about. They don't want it to be like distractingly bad. But as long as it's good, looks good, sounds good. We're not up there to be hot. We're up there to be funny.
I'm up there to be hot, and it's just it's not worked out. Physically, I'm sweating, but Yeah, all my videos that I've done in my car or anything, like
Yeah.
it's just me holding a phone. Nobody, as long as it's not the worst quality ever, nobody cares.
Right. Exactly. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Check out Brent at Hilarities this weekend if you're in Cleveland, or just go to his website. Is it just BrentTerhune.com?
BrentComedy.com.
BrentComedy.com, and see when he's coming to a town near you. He's one of the best out there. Very funny guy. That was fun, man. Thanks for going through some old stuff with me.
For cringing with everybody. But yeah, thanks for having me on, Ben. I'll see you this week.
All right, see you this week. Bye.
This is the Bill Squire Show.